Hey guys, welcome to the video. If you guys don't know who I am, you can find me on my Instagram at fearstofit. I am a bikini competitor. I'm 18 years old and I am a personal trainer. But things have not always been that way for me, and I'm going to share my story with you guys on basically how I came from my eating disorder to where I am today. So my transformation was super rocky. I started off, as a normal teenager, a normal kid. I ate whatever I wanted. Was never really like obsessed with food or anything like that. But once I got to high school, I started running track, and I got on Instagram and I started seeing all these images of girls' bodies, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to look like that. I always wanted to look like the bodybuilders that I saw. I didn't really like that, that Victoria's Secret model, like really thin look. It was never anything I really wanted to achieve. And I thought in order to do this, you didn't have to eat. So I started cutting out a lot of the foods and just had a very unrealistic, unhealthy relationship with food. I started counting my calories, and then things got even worse to the point where I just stopped going out with my friends. I stopped texting my friends. I avoided social events because I knew that meant that I had to eat. I started lying to my parents, my friends, my family, just everybody. I started lying to them so that I wouldn't have to eat, or I'd go hide in my room so I didn't have to like eat dinner or go out with anybody. And it just became a super unhealthy relationship with food, as to where I was starting off at about 115 pounds and got down to about 90 pounds. And then my parents had just cut me off from exercise completely. And this is something that killed me, because I genuinely had a love for going to the gym. Now, when I was going to the gym, I was running like anywhere from 5 to 10 miles a day. So what I was doing was so just catabolic. It was just killing my body. I was just breaking everything down, just trying to lose as much fat as I could, going into the gym, burning calories. That was all I was concerned about, was burning calories. And that's when you know you don't have a healthy relationship with the gym. And this is when I got the worst. I went on a trip to Spain with my school, and I knew I wasn't supposed to be working out, but I found a way to run every single day. And my friends knew I wasn't supposed to be working out, but they couldn't really stop me because, one, I wasn't really talking to them that much at that point, and two, what were they going to say to me? I was just going to lie and make something up so that I could go work out. And it even got to the point on that trip where people thought I was like bulimic because I was so skinny. Just things like that people just started talking about me, and it just pissed me off. And I realized like I was so unhappy, and I wasn't eating any of the food when I went there at all. That same summer I went on a trip with my family, and I avoided eating all the food. It was like an all-inclusive. They paid all this money for me, and it was just such a waste because I couldn't enjoy anything. But when I got back from Spain, I had been walking like 10,000 steps, or 10,000. I've been walking about 10 miles a day because the teachers were tracking it on their Fitbits. I wasn't eating any of the food. I just made up this lame excuse that I hated Spanish food, and let's be real, that shit looked so bomb, and I regret not eating it now. Have a lot of regrets now. But I came back and my mom looked at me. She saw me when I was changing my room, and she was like, step on the scale right now. So I stepped on the scale, and I was down to about 85 pounds. So I had lost about 30 pounds at that point, and basically my body just wouldn't function. I was tired every single day. I was cranky as hell. I was mean. I was just a bitch to everybody because I was not fueling my body. Like, my body was starving. My mind was just dizzy, in a daze all the time. And I never got admitted to a hospital or anything like that, but my mom did take me to the doctors, and I got diagnosed with anorexia. And I did a little more research, and I would say it was almost like a self-diagnosis of orthorexia, which is restrictive eating, obsessive healthy eting, and obsessive exercise. So you're probably wondering like what clicked for me and what got me to where I am today. And it was not easy, let me tell you. I was fed up. Like, I looked in the mirror and saw this super skinny, frail girl who looked like she could be snapped in half. And I was just unhappy with my body. I had no friends. My parents almost split up because of me. I made them turn against each other and fight each other because, you know, I was unhappy with how I wasn't able to work out, and I would make them pick sides and just turned everyone in my family against each other. And I realized that that was me. Like, I was the one who did that, and I didn't want to do it anymore. So I slowly started to eat a little bit more, maybe 200 or 300 calories a day, and I thought that was going to do it for me. My mom took me to therapy, and this is what really hit the nail on the head for me. I just realized how big of a waste of time that was for me, and how if anyone was going to do it, it was going to be me. So while social media influenced me a lot during my eating disorder, because I always see girls eating like really small portions of food, and they were really thin and pretty, and I wanted to look like that. I also found this wonderful community of people who were in recovery, people who had recovered. Fight for Growth, she's a big one that I always followed when I was in recovery, and I realized that, wow, you know, if I'm ever going to achieve anything I want to do, like, I'm really going to have to increase my intake. Like, I saw some of these girls eating upwards of like 2,000 or 3,000 calories, and now I'm not saying that's what anyone in recovery has to do, but I knew for my body it needed that. So I started eating a little bit more, and I was still working out behind my parents' back, just lying, waking up at like 4 in the morning to go freaking work out in the basement so that no one would catch me. And those are the things you do when you have an eating disorder. You lie to get your way and to, you know, stay as thin as you can. So my friend Zach, he kind of gave me a reality check and was like, you know, what the hell are you doing? Like, all this cardio, like, you just need to cut it out, like, just stop. So I stopped working out for maybe a few weeks and started eating just a little bit more, and I realized, like, damn, I can actually, like, fuel my body with these kinds of foods. And then he introduced me to weightlifting. And then when I started lifting, after I had, you know, maintained a pretty decent weight, I still didn't tell my parents I was going to lift with him, but I did put on a significant amount of weight, significant amount of muscle. And when my mom saw that, she let me go back to the gym like 3 times a week with her. And I was like, okay, I'm going to follow through with this, stick to my guns, not ruin this for myself, and just go after it. And so I continued to do so, and I just started to keep gaining weight. And by this time I was like in my senior year of high school, and I started my Instagram. And then I just got this following of people who thought I was like an inspiration to them because I was sharing my story about recovering. And I got up to like 20,000 followers, and I sat down one day, I was like, shit, you know, like, if I ever am to relapse, like, I always, you know, had those thoughts. I'm like, if I ever am gonna relapse, I'm not just letting myself down, like, I'm letting down 20,000 people. Like, I can't do that. And now I'm, you know, up to 60,000 followers, and trying to have that impact on people, you know, just sharing my story with them so that they're going through the same thing. Maybe I can help them out a little bit. And then my friend Zach always wanted to compete, and I was like, oh my god, that's so unrealistic for me. Like, I came from an eating disorder. People are never gonna believe me about wanting to do it for the right reasons. And I was like, fuck it. This is my life. It's my body. And if I want to do something, I'm gonna go after it. So I decided that I was gonna do a show after I had put on a significant amount of weight, after I knew my relationship with the gym was so healthy to the point where I was going for me. I was going because I loved the endorphins. I loved the feeling of the gym. I loved the friendships I made at the gym, the social life I had at the gym, not because I wanted to go burn calories. As a matter of fact, I cut out cardio completely for an entire year. And yeah, your girl was not mad about that. So I started training for a bikini competition, and I do not recommend this for anybody who, obviously, a lot of people who have recovered, it's just not good for terms of relapse. Essentially, a bikini competitor starves themselves for X amount of months until their show, and it basically, to me, like a lot of people would explain it, is one big eating disorder. And I can't say that I disagree, because you do get these thoughts that you had when you were in, you know, if you ever did have an eating disorder. A lot of the habits are very similar, but I got myself a coach because I knew that I needed someone to hold me accountable, just making sure I had that safety net. And that's what I did. And Nico Medina, I absolutely love you if you're watching this. Thank you for everything you've done for me. My coach helped me out so much, and I never really realized how much I could eat, just eat in general. And I just fell in love with competing. I absolutely fell in love with it. And then I got my NASM certification to be a personal trainer because I knew that I came back from an eating disorder, and essentially even people who have the same kind of goals, like as a weight loss goal, you basically have so much in common. Even coming from an eating disorder and then someone who's like a weight loss client, you still are trying to just make yourself a better person, and health-wise, everything like that. And I knew I just wanted to help people who wanted to make themselves healthy, or maybe didn't want to make themselves healthy but needed it in their life. And it's the best decision that I ever made in my life, ever. And honestly, going through my eating disorder is literally a blessing in disguise, because if I wouldn't have gone through that, I would not be where I am today. I wouldn't have gotten into weightlifting. I wouldn't be a personal trainer. I wouldn't have pursued my dreams and moved to Florida to do that at such a young age. And like I said, I don't recommend competing for everybody. But for me, it was a really slow process of just basically incorporating more food into my diet, weekly, daily, whatever it was. I stopped tracking my food, which was so important for me, and then just eating intuitively until I eventually decided that I was going to compete again, and just obviously started tracking my food. But when I stepped on stage, I realized that I literally have never had a love and felt so confident about something in my entire life. And the fact that I was able to recover and then be able to do that, and now I am 2 months post-show, I'm up 6 pounds already. So I obviously bounced back from it really good. I had an amazing support system, and that's one thing that if you don't have a support system, get involved with the community on Instagram, because that's what I did. And I just had this wonderful transformation from this little tiny girl who just was so miserable and so depressed all the time, to someone who's now thriving, following a career, genuinely happy, and my love for the gym is everlasting, I swear. But I'm in it for the right reasons, and I think if you figure out if you're in it for the right reason, and you are using the negative things that used to happen in your life. So I took my eating disorder and turned it into something positive, and that's why I believe that I'm fully recovered. A lot of people say that true recovery is not possible because you'll always have those thoughts, but I don't give a damn who you are. Everybody has those thoughts. We can't all have good body images 100% of the time, and self-love and all these things. They don't happen every day. You might be in love with yourself, yes, but you might not love your body every day, and that's perfectly normal. And that realization for me is the realization that I have recovered. And I couldn't be at a happier spot in my life. So fitness saved my life, and now competing is my future, personal training is my future, and I'm forever grateful for that. So always remember to just take the negative things that happen in your life and turn them into something positive. This is my journey from an eating disorder to a bikini competitor. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Just a little rant. And if you guys ever need anything, any recovery questions, any competing questions, if you want to know more about my competition and how I felt mentally going into that, just leave me a comment below and I will make a video about it. I love you guys so much. Bye.